This episode of Geek-men and the Masters of the Thunder Nerds is brought to you by our sponsors, Super 7, Nerd Gear, SWA Sabers, and the Madness Entertainment Group. All right. Joining me tonight is our good friend Dash Hooper.
Yes.
Zombie regrettably couldn't make it. He popped in to say, hey, sorry, can't be there tonight. Have a good show. Yep, it's just the two of us tonight.
That's not
no.
We don't need zombie. We don't need zombie.
We have a guest, and I'm excited because welcome back, Quaid of Tide Realm Corsairs.
Good to be here. Good to see you guys. Good to meet you, Dash.
Good to meet you.
Yeah. So, how's it been, man? I gotta know. Just sort of take us through how the initial excitement, because we talked to you guys before you guys went live, and then so how was it leading up to and then finally going live?
I mean, leading up to it's almost feels like apples to oranges trying to decide what was more stressful, but
yeah,
because I could not have ever prepared enough for how quickly the trajectory ran within the first 48 hours, because I spent 3-4 months prepping all the graphics and stuff to make that Kickstarter look the way it does, and 45% of my graphics were rendered obsolete within the first 3 hours. I had to update them all in stride while the campaign is live, because everything about a Kickstarter is what's the word? It's not automated. It's all on your part. You have to run it manually. That's the word.
Yeah.
And so getting those unlocks actually open and ready for people, because you have to format everything correctly. You have to make sure all of your unlocks have the same information. You have to make sure they're available as an add-on, and that they all have the same shipping stuff. It's quite complicated to do on the fly. I was expecting within about 2 weeks or so we'd start having unlocks, and nope, we had everything that we were prepared to offer by mid-campaign, well before mid-campaign.
Almost immediately, wasn't it?
Yeah, just about within the first 3 days, we had everything revealed, and within that first day, we had everything unlocked, which is a little backwards. But the feeling surrounding it, I think, is only just now catching up this week. Like, the reality of where we're at, I'm only just now starting to feel. I took my first nap in a year last week, now that the campaign has hit that natural lull before the rise at the end, and I honestly couldn't be. I mean, it's catch-22. There's pros and cons to that, but I'm trying to maintain actually how grateful I am that I'm not having to break my neck to get things out there ready for people, because that's kind of what it took the first day. So it was all kinds of whirlwind emotions, all of it hectic and all of it good at the same time.
That's great to hear, and
it's a very good problem to have.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely not something to definitely something you're grateful for sure.
Yeah, I'm afraid there's no way that I can begrudge. Doggone you guys, we're at 75K within the first 3 hours. I can't handle this. I give up.
Right.
That doesn't quite work. No, I could not be more grateful. I was just. And it's not even that I was unprepared. I was prepared. The graphics were ready, but not ready to be loaded in. It was insane.
I mean, we talked a little bit backstage about it, like what we expect, what we don't expect, and so. But I mean, that's a testament to not only the way you've reached out to the community that you're looking for. We talked about, you're searching for those pirate fans, but the way they respond. I mean, that's a testament to not only what you're doing as a creator, but it's got to make you feel good that, hey, I got to do this right now instead of 2 weeks down the road.
Precisely.
Or 3 weeks down.
That was as much kind of, you have to maintain a level of optimism or you'll never get anything done, but you also have to maintain a level of realism. And most of these campaigns, it is an uphill battle. This has not been any different either. but not to the degree that I was essentially planning for. I was prepared to have the boxing gloves on as long as possible. And I've actually been able to untie them and dust them off and clean them and put them back on a week later. And that's been wonderful. There's absolutely zero complaints I have. And maintaining that outreach is our number one priority now. That's pretty much I wish it was self-automated, but you got to get creative when it comes to that marketing. And we have great folks behind us. I have a wonderful graphics designer who's helped dial in all the things that I've been crafting for the last 4 months. Our buddy Ryan Prass practically accosted me at Legion's Con and just said, "We're going to be buddies and I'm going to help out." And I was like, you know what? I cannot refuse that. The same thing with our pal, Terrence St. John. He's been out there hitting the road at conventions, showcasing the prototypes. Him and his wife Gina have been hitting a place of outreach that we're not able to from where we're based out of right now. And so having the community come in and fill in those little pieces of deficit that you just can't meet as a 2-person team, there's a lot we can do on our end, and there's plenty more that anybody willing is more than able to come in and compensate for. So I can't thank those people enough. It's just, yes, it's blood, sweat, and tears on my part, but everybody who showed up day one matters just as much as all the work put in ahead of time.
Yeah. I love it.
So I wasn't here for the last one, so I just want to ask one question, and
sure,
forgive me if it's been asked before, but is this the first wave of your for Tide Realms, or are we on us?
This is the debut launch for the brand.
Good. So I'm in time.
You have not missed anything.
Cool.
Not yet.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, and then I'll let Dustin have. Because I love action figures, as you can tell behind me. And
you do?
Dustin, yes. What led you to bring Tide Realms to fruition? What was the thought? Where did you get pirates and this specific idea from?
A massive, unbridled need for attention.
Right.
No.
I can agree.
I'm afraid not, actually. I couldn't be less of a social butterfly, despite the fact that, I'm out here doing that work. Yeah. It's not my forte, and every opportunity I have to talk to fans like you guys is an opportunity to get better at that. That alone I'm grateful for. But when it came to Tide Realm specifically, it was filling in a very real deficit that I had since boyhood. I just always wanted to be a toy maker. I kept waiting to grow out of it. It wasn't just that, I like toys and I'm going to keep collecting them until I die. No, there was always a place where I couldn't envision myself continuing to engage in that hobby and not want to contribute. And I hit that point far sooner than my 40s, if anybody can tell just by looking at me. Hadn't quite gotten there yet. I was like, I can't just consume anymore. There has to be a way to add to.
Yeah.
And that hole within the market of pirates was made so very obvious to me after coming into the Legions community, seeing a deficit that people were looking for, and this open door, that practically revolving door that the Horsemen have of working with indie creators, which I had no idea existed. I have a long background in independent filmmaking. Storytelling is something I've been doing even longer than toy making. So it was really, really easy for the world of Tide Realm to just kind of erupt overnight. But that avenue of figuring out that there are other ways to achieve the same end that doesn't mean starting in the mail room at Mattel and Hasbro and hoping that someday you get to fiddle around with a butterfly joint and say you were a toy maker. There's some other ways to do that. And that inspiration came purely from discovering what Horsemen do as a brand, getting married to my wife, who has supported every decision I've ever made in regards to that. And we've been able to build that world together. It's funny, this property is not even, I guess it's a little more than a year old now, as far as getting it out there in front of people. It just kind of spoke itself into existence, but it's not a plunge we would have taken without seeing how very real that need and desire was within the toy market. And for me, our vision for that genre was pretty well already in place. I always knew what I would do if I had the ability to touch on a pirate story.
Nice.
That's fantastic. Yeah. As you said, it's like, I think all of us, actually get to live the dream like you are. But I think all of us when we're collecting always like wanted something in our collection that we contributed, you know, or you know, whether it's making custom figures from broken parts or things like that. So I'm glad you get to live the dream, my friend. I really am glad you get to live the dream.
Well, it's funny. I like to try to, if I can, take some of the polish off of what that is, because while it's this glorious and wonderful thing to be able to shepherd and steward to the people who also enjoy it, it's a job like anything else.
Oh yeah.
It is a ton of work, and the daily grind has actually been more difficult than any job I've ever had prior. So having the stomach for the long haul is a really, really big point of self-assessment going in. Maybe it's because I'm, you know, young enough to be somebody's child in most of the folks in this community that I have such stamina, and that's the only reason I'm surviving it thus far. But having the vision is one thing, but going into it, you know, without the rose tinted glasses of, there will be days where it's not as fun as I'm making toys. You'll have those days, but you'll also have the days where it's like, I don't want to look at another spreadsheet, budget balance, quarterly report one more time. So I'll put my head in the oven. It will be like that. But it is all very, very much worth it. And it also brings a level of, I think, kind of levity if, you know, someone is in the position where what you can contribute is your creativity as an individual. And that is what I loved so very much about what Horseman brought to the table. You automatically have the ability to ascribe some of yourself to that product in a way that you don't have with somebody like Iron Man or Darth Vader. Those toys are made to be yours first, and that is what we wanted to provide to people.
Nice.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
Oh boy. So let me just pull up the Kickstarter here.
Yeah.
And we'll sort of scroll through it, and we can talk about all the good things here. Now, if you guys didn't see our first interview, is it okay if I play this?
Of course. Yeah. It's might be a little loud. Depends on what you're ready for that.
In the beginning, the tides were ruled by gods and shattered by their war. From their final clash rose the Tide Realm Isles, and the captains who now battle for its fate. Now rumors stir of a power returning from the deep, and 3 factions rise to claim the realm. Captain Algol Deathmind, leader of the perished, eternal, unyielding, a force older than the tides themselves. With his crew at his command, he sails to return the seas to chaos. Captain Charybdis, commander of the Tidehorn, the forgotten prince of the deep. He seeks the maw of the abyss and the drowning of the surface world. Captain Alistair Morningstar, leader of the Gentlemen of Fortune, orphan of the tides, and captain of the Debt Collector, a seeker of honor in a world without it, haunted by the power he fears lies within. Each figure is brought to life with industry-standard articulation, expressive interchangeable hands, and lore-forged weaponry. Every sculpt, every pendant, every map and coin bag, crafted with a detail only 4 Horseman Studios can deliver. These 3 sculpts birthed the bedrock of Tide Realm Corsairs. Wave 1, the Cursed Seas Collection. But this world didn't begin in the tides. It began with a dream.
Hi, I'm Quaid.
And I'm Abigail. And
we are Corsair Creations.
This is Tide Realm Corsairs. This has been brought to you by Corsair Creations.
Tide Realm Corsairs started as a dream we shared even before we were married, and it's a world we built together. I've dreamed of being a toy maker ever since I was a child. because of my amazing wife, this community, and these Corsairs, that dream has the chance of becoming a reality.
We reached out to Four Horsemen Studios about a year ago and were met with completely open arms. From there, we were given a real path forward.
This line is more than toys to us. It's our story, it's our partnership, and it's the community we hope to build.
The captains of the Tide Realm lead Wave 1, but there is more to come. With yards apart, the Tide Realm will continue to expand. New captains, new crew members, new legends rising from the deep. The tides are shifting, the captains are ready, and the realm awaits its crew.
Nice.
Pledge your plunder, collect the Corsairs, build your crew to rule the realms. Because here, there be pirates.
Yes.
That 86% just gets me every time. The last 2 days, I've given myself the breathing room to look at that. And just, again, I cannot tell the community thank you enough times. We are that close.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, you're gonna see about like you talked about. You're in that lull.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably going to shoot up to about 150% or more. I feel it.
Well, our intention and our trajectory is to keep it moving just as steady as it has pretty much the whole way through. The quicker we hit that 155, base funding goal, those stretch goal unlocks start becoming real. And it's just harder to get those things to everybody if we've waited until the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Either I have an aneurysm and get all the stretch goals up for people to, hoard up in 48 hours, but it's a little nicer if people can take a little bit of time with it and have those things unlocked by the last 2 days so folks can get as much as they want by the time it's rolling in. So that's our goal. If we don't manage that, then it's manageable anyway, but that's the hope, that's the trajectory. And being like 15% away from hitting that, the community showed up. It's everybody who's here that has a right to be proud. I'm very happy with that video. I am. But
yeah, that is a well done video that really brings you and shows that exactly what you need.
Yeah.
Like to do that. Let me ask this: when you go to the cons and things, was it very well received there? Did you have hard times at the cons, or how did it feel?
It was fun. I mean, Legion's Con was the only one that we got to do in person, and we made quite a few sacrifices to make sure that happened because that one was the biggest deal. That was our initial target audience that's since broadened. And I was overwhelmed actually because we were in the hallway. We assumed that traffic would be a little lighter than it is. And it was, but not for our table. I was talking to people I get done with one group and there'd be somebody right behind them ready to take a look. And so it helped that we had kind of prepped the runway ahead of time so people knew we were going to be there. They knew what to expect. Since then, Terrence has had people come to conventions after that expecting, looking for Tide Realm. People there knew that the pirates were supposed to be there, but it was the first in-person debut. And I didn't have a single interaction which would be merited. It's a new idea. You'll have somebody in front of you going, I don't know how I feel about this one yet. We didn't have that. There was people that just immediately connected with it. And I think that's a testament to the sculpt and our masterful paintwork by Eric Miller. He breathed life into those prototypes. Terrence has had people offer to buy the prototypes off of him at shows because they look so finalized. Like, well, not quite, but you can go to the Kickstarter. You'll have something better than a prototype.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if I would have probably offered for the prototypes, they're really good. So yeah, kudos to that. And you don't tell me that you're not that you're not good with people, because just watching that video, you sold me, man. I mean, I didn't even hear what you were saying, but just interaction. Your interaction was good, and that is what people like me and I'm sure Justin, when we go to cons, that's exactly what we want to be talked to and to understand what you're doing here. And
right, you're saying exactly what I was about to. I had a couple folks I mean, hopefully it just meant I was doing my job well, but we had a couple folks come up to our table. I should know their names because most people introduce themselves to me, and the sheer volume of people, I started to lose faces after the first half hour. But there were plenty of folks that were like, I really appreciate that when we step up to the booth, you're inviting us into the conversation, because there were a lot of booths where folks just kind of, they have to stand there and like wait to be noticed. And then decide, the person manning the booth has to decide whether they're going to have that conversation. We just kept the conversation going. There was always a loop for someone, waiting on the outside in, had different questions the people for us. We just wanted to make sure that accessible and approachable. That was always the goal, despite the fact that we're pirates, need to be able to reach us. And so we did try to maintain that. Good gosh, it was hard to get to the bathroom and get any food through that weekend. But that was also worth it.
That is, I was gonna say that's probably worth it if you're that busy. That's again another testament to what you're bringing.
Absolutely.
Dustin's over here just take it in, just letting the tides wash over him.
I was on a show with Dustin and Eric a while back, and this is where I first learned of your Kickstarter, and I was like, I was already sold the minute he put up Tide Realms. I was like, I hadn't even seen the sculpts yet, and then he starts showing me. I'm like, yeah, just give me, because I mean, again, Pirates is a very underrepresented figure in our community, and like we were talking about backstage, like waiting for like a Pirates of the Caribbean movie or some new cartoon to finally.
You have like two options. It's either Disney deigns to say, "Hey, pirates are cool again," or you have to wait for the next show like Black Sails to show up, and that's not really giving you the marketable experience that a toy line does. You're not walking away with this sandbox play, because a show like that is also a riff on something that's already existed before it. It's playing off of themes and existing characters from Treasure Island, but this is meant to be, it's completely its own universe. The characters and sculpts are meant to speak for themselves. You're not looking at these guys and thinking too long and too hard about what the heck is that. We have all this prescribed lore for what makes these guys what they are, but you look at Captain Charybdis here, that is a deep sea squid pirate, and if that is as depthful as you want to get with him, you are within the rights to do so as a consumer. That only gets cooler from there. And each of these
I mean the barnacles, and it's just so awesome.
Each of these three sculpts were within as much reality as you can bring to people that share tooling, and that's fairly limited between these three. We wanted to make sure everybody was as unique as possible. There's quite a few factions within this universe that we've established within all this prescribed lore, but we led with the three strongest ones, the ones that frankly you would expect to see in a fantasy pirate world. You're going to want to see sea creature pirates. You're going to want to see undead marauders, and you're going to want to see gritty, war-torn human pirates.
Yeah.
Well,
I like the captains, how you've already expanded with just a few more heads, arms, etc. It just makes the variability and customization even greater.
The captain's kit was a really, really cool piece of ingenuity that we had batted around multiple times in the beginning of the sculpting process and had to budget around the Kickstarter itself. But when we got those pieces where we wanted them, which is especially when it comes to the alternate arms, they're a continuation of that undershirt on that, or the button up anyway, that these guys have under that vest, and getting that to the articulated range that we were looking for, making sure it was synonymous with the rest of the sculpt, and giving you the option to utilize every single one of these characters with or without that coat, broadened the horizon just that much more so with the existing sculpt. You give people a different head, now you've established your kind of first mate character as is, because one of the ones I'm most excited about when people are going to have it in hand is the human pieces from the captain's kit, because Alistair has a ton of layers to his color palette. You can see here it's giving you an idea of how you employ those pieces on that particular figure. And Alistair just has totally different colors under that rich, gritty brown coat. He has more so navy and dark tans and some brighter browns under that. So you give him that secondary head, it looks like a completely different pirate. You have your first mate set up right away in wave 1. In universe, that's not exactly how we've described the first mate looking, but it's fairly close.
Nice. That's always nice to see when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I like that you have all three. You have your undead, you have your sea creature, and you have the romanticized pirate, the ones that we all grew up with, reading, and that's fantastic. What is something that you did you like do a poll? Did you just go, all right, no, I know this is what we want to start with, or did you kind of reach out and say, what are you guys looking for, or how did you get settled on these three right here?
Market research is hugely important. Like, for anybody looking at this campaign and having similar meanderings to themselves, do not skip that step. Make sure that you are measuring what people are thinking about. But when it came to this IP specifically, that research, well, limited is not the word because I'm too thorough for my own good, but it was so intuitive when it came to establishing what we would lead with. Even like concepts that I have, because you guys don't even want to know the amount of characters that are in the background here that you do want to know.
I
That's
do.
the problem.
I do.
Yeah, that's
I
what
do.
that would fill out a wave 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are characters that I would start doing a little bit more market research and see how people are feeling about. But the 3 factions that we knew we would lead with from the beginning, we were always very, very, very confident in public reception of them. They seemed like just an absolute shoe-in. And once we got the flavors established that made Tide Realm what it is, because you start from, here's your basic concept that pirate and action figure lovers will enjoy. You bring that into, what makes your brand unique, bring it into the intuitiveness that the system you're bringing to the table is. And once those 4 pieces clicked, you had some really, really cool looking action figures with a really, really cool story behind them that was nothing but complimentary to what people are already expecting from a genre like this. We were interested in fully grounding it in the world that it is without reinventing the wheel and having people, have to go read the Tide Realm textbook in order to figure out what's going on. These are pirate toys. High fantasy pirate toys. We don't have to think about it too hard. You can, because there's lots to think about. There's lots of implications of what these guys are, but just like the brand itself, the toys kind of just wrote themselves into existence. But we did work very, very long and hard making sure that the concepts we were leading with were something desirable instead of, this is what I love because I'm an artist. And as an artist, I have to express you have to be realistic. You're selling a product.
Right.
For sure.
To see
I love this.
Yeah, just to see your vision come to life has got to feel really, really good.
Well, that's maybe like the third whole time I've let myself watch the video, just because you guys are in front of me watching it with me. And I do have to kind of stop and make myself appreciate how far we've come, because it's way too easy to just get stuck in that autopilot of keep going, keep moving forward, do the next task, make sure it's polished and ready. And there hasn't realistically been a lot of opportunities to sit and appreciate it. And there's a lot to appreciate. These unlocks at 155K, which again, just a not so subtle reminder for anybody watching, is, about 15% away. That's like a little over $20,000 before we hit that. And you guys have 3 unlocks that hit all at once. These Marauder and Pirate gear sets open up a bunch more weapons for everybody that are themed around each faction. Both kits have a different colored set of, wow, the words are escaping me, hook hands and peg legs, which are universal to every figure. It works on everybody, and the customizability options open up just tenfold. Plus you have the Coral Wraith, who is our kind of deluxe army builder. He comes with enough pieces to make 4 fairly unique variations of a paint scheme that's already really unique to that character. And within universe, there's hundreds of those drifting in and out of the Dread Tide Reef. It was initially conceived to be because Captain Charybdis is a squid. He's probably going to blend in with his environment. He was initially proposed as, camouflage Charybdis. But once we got in and added more pieces from our library that we had, it became very obvious that this guy could be a completely unique character in his own right. So you have this glowing, ethereal, dread-tide skeleton option. You can dress him up and down. He can also be that glowing sea creature captain. He comes with, a version of pretty much every faction's weapon and probably more hands than is conceivably necessary, but I have no interest in people having a lack of options either. So
right.
That's just a ton unlocked all at once, and being so very, very close to that, we would love to reach it as quick as possible so folks can get in and get exactly as much as they want.
Exactly. I mean, good grief.
These little diagrams here just showing, how those pieces play out, just like the captain's kit. You can see how some of the colors are complementary depending on the figure. So like the Marauder's gear tended to work really, really well on Charybdis specifically, but then the pirate gear with the lighter colored wood worked even better on his lackeys, the Tideborn crew members. So you have a ton of options when it comes to that color palette.
I love all of our right there. Oh, I love that one right there.
Which one are you looking at, Dave?
The with the red vest and the hook.
The Perished crew builder is really, really, really fun. And he's cool because he's kind of, you can see within the crew builders, they're injecting, some extra bits of color within this universe that you're not seeing as prominently on the captains, not only to differentiate them, but to establish the palette. I don't think anybody who thinks of pirates as a genre, maybe if you think of Pirates of the Caribbean, you have a fairly gritty, dark tone through most of that. But I think when people think of pirates, you immediately think of bright red sails, you think of striped shirts. I don't think it's a very colorless genre. And so we wanted to make sure that there was life to that. And even in the undead Perished guy, he has, more than just blacks and silvers. He's got navies and dark reds, and they're really, really fun and unique to each character. You're not ever having the same experience twice, even though everyone shares similar sculpting. I love how that peg leg looks on that crab.
It looks great. It looks great.
Awesome.
Was there anything you had to sacrifice? Like you had a vision, but it didn't translate once it got into sculpt or even just designing mode. Was there anything you just had to say, like, it's not going to work?
I feel like there had to have been moments like that within the minutia of sculpting. You'll have, I don't know if I could even describe them as hiccups. The only thing that comes immediately to mind is our vision for Deathmoid was very, very, very specific, especially when it came to his head sculpt, because he's not just this undead skeleton pirate. He's kind of this ghoulish, half-formed, there's some meat on him despite the fact that he is a skeleton.
Right.
So there was some very, very specific sculpting motifs that we wanted to hit with that. And that's hard to articulate through an email. So the one that seemed like the biggest shoe-in for presentation, how hard is it you're talking a horseman, how hard is it to do a skeleton pirate captain? Well, easy, until you have the first pass and you're like, oh, we'd actually like to push that even further than we're at. Concepts that we explored that didn't really translate is we didn't really have anything like that happen. There are some other characters I would love to introduce in the next series that I anticipate would have maybe some challenges like that. But again, the pattern that we established going to the Horseman to begin with, because we had the Buck half conceptualized to begin with and how we wanted all this to play out, there's not been a ton of roadblocks where you're just beating your head against the desk going, why won't this work? There's been an easy solution to just about everything. One of the, I think probably the best way to answer that, one of the things that I had to step back on as a creator and an artist, I had really specific vision for what I wanted characters like the crew builders and some of these repaints to represent, because all of them have a specific role within universe, and all of them are crafted from our storytelling side of things to be very, very unique. But when it came down to needing to broaden the horizons of using that tooling as frequently as possible, we had to take a step back and go, okay, there's ways that we can fit in some of these concepts now that don't have as much unique identity as they might later. Kind of putting the product first before, insisting that each character has to be represented to the degree of originality that it might be able to so in the future. Offering as much product as possible at once was something we had to adjust shortly after finishing the sculpt. It's like, oh, there's actually more we can do with these than just these 3 captains. There's lots more to be explored with this tooling as is, and it's optimal to use that as much as possible. And the crew builders are a testament to that.
Yeah,
there's a lot to be done with this one body.
Yeah, for sure. We got a comment. Mythic Dolphin says, please mention overtime option. Pay overtime is an option. Pledges at least $125. Audiobook is on YouTube for free. When do we get part 15?
I was gonna say, I think Mythic Dolphin pretty much covered the whole thing for me. I don't even have to talk.
Don't even have to say it.
Yeah, no, the pledge overtime option is there, and I'm pretty sure it's 125 is when you hit that. I don't remember right off the top of my head how long those installments are. I thought it was like 6 to 8 weeks, but Kickstarter informs you of that when you're in checkout. And then the the audiobook. Yeah. The audiobook has been fun. It's also a ton of work because I have a long background in voiceover narration, and I'm producing all that by myself as well. My wife is helping voice our main female character. But that's something that I'm kind of laying the train tracks as the choo-choo is going, because I have most of it recorded. But there's so much about a Kickstarter campaign. Let's get real. People are excited about the toys. They are here for the plastic. The audiobook narration is kind of this cherry on top, and that is free. That's accessible to anybody on the YouTube channel. And that's just supplementary content to keep the train going, to keep excitement moving. And there's a lot to dissect within that universe. There's things within the storyline of the audiobook that are exclusive to that, that aren't within the campaign yet. There's things hinting towards stuff later. So it's a lot of fun, but it's a ton of work, and our attention has to be, most prioritized on the campaign itself. So I'm having to balance everything simultaneously, and it's working better than I thought it might, despite the fact that I haven't developed multiple personalities yet. There's still time, and the audiobook may be a testament to that.
It comes because just when I'm writing, because I write books, and you'll start thinking like your own characters, and you're like, oh my god, I'm even answering like my own characters.
Yeah,
so
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
I'm gonna have to go check out the audiobook because you got me into that too.
Chapter 15. That was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dustin.
Oh no, I was. Go ahead. I was gonna say something else after.
Chapter 15 is probably going to come out shortly because it's awesome. Ready. It's ready to go. A lot of it comes down to timing. If I see a good window of excitement, I like to drop what's ready within that and the weekend that we're leading up to here. I think there's another show this weekend. I don't remember where. And then the weekend after that is IshCon, where the prototypes will be on display at Terrence's booth.
Nice.
So anyway, I play it by ear depending on the day, but the goal was to have audiobook chapters every other day while the campaign is live.
That's fantastic.
Nice.
Sounds like you got to be out. Sounds like Mythic Dolphin is a fan and they're ready for part 15.
Yep. Get to work.
Where's part 15? I just imagine. But yeah, so I stopped scrolling here because I'm excited about what I see when I scroll further. Which is skeleton like guy.
Does this seem like a coincidental color scheme to you?
It's
fairly fortuitous, honestly. I almost feel like there's a movie coming out that might even be.
If only.
Yeah,
which I'm super excited about. That's besides the point.
Right.
But yeah, I'm definitely excited for this movie, and this figure is like icing on the cake. It's like, dang it, I really want that to unlock so that way I can get it.
We've made it highly accessible so long as we hit that funding goal as soon as humanly possible. He's only 10K after that mystery unlock as well.
what did it take to? I mean, because I'm sure that there was probably some worries about infringements and things like that. Did you have to go to Mattel or anything on that?
No, I mean, it's not. So it comes down to, do you have the corner on the colors blue and purple?
Very good.
And
Okay, that's a question I wanted to know.
Yeah, the sculpt is so very differentiated and unique, and even the Horsemen have a long-standing one. They have a relationship with Mattel, and we brought that concern to them long before we approached this. Otherwise, probably wouldn't have gone ahead and done it. But there's so much unique that this thing is bringing to the table, and within universe, he is an established character. He has lore of his own. He's just happens to use some really well established, really recognizable, ethereal 80s colors that
he's just going to a costume party.
Exactly. There's just nothing cooler than a purple bad guy, and it was inevitable anyway. You put in some blue, and it's like, well, you kind of can't get away from it now.
Yeah, this is why I love that I'm going to back this, but this is the reason why I am back here. Just everybody out there listening, this is one of the main reasons I'm backing this, because it's just I love a good homage, and so with this and going forward, because it brings up a question: would you like to make, maybe an homage to like Captain? I'm just saying, just for giggles here, but like a Captain Hook homage or something of that nature. Has that been up in the brain of yours? Or
oh yeah, there's nothing in that realm that has not been that has not been explored previously. So it's all going to come down to timing and resources that we have. But yeah, there's nothing along those lines, that because we want to be purposeful. When we release a tribute, not only do we want it to be honorable to what we're talking about, we don't want it to be repetitive or derivative, and it does need to fit within the established toy line. So there's a couple quality passes it has to meet before the idea gets there, and it just so happened that Gravemore was especially well timed, and his aesthetic really, really matched Tide Realm. There's a reason you're not seeing some other concepts. There's some other glowy skeleton people and another masters of some form of universe that have a similar aesthetic. We picked the strongest one we did for a reason, and if ever there is homage characters, it's always going to be done for the same reason, because it was highly intuitive and was pretty much asking to be so. You just can't go wrong with a purple pirate captain.
No, you cannot.
Right.
I'm sold. I mean, it's. I mean, I'm easy to please, but I'm sold.
I love toy collectors that are easy to please, because it's a really fun conversation. And this is a genre where I don't know that it actually requires being that open-minded, but you are being presented with concepts that are being established in very new packaging, even if they're familiar ideas. And so talking to open-minded collectors is really, really fun, because this is a new market. And as an investor, you're getting in on the idea in its inception, and hearing that feedback of, people that are curious about the thought process. I love those questions, because we're able to give you a piece of connection to the line that you're not necessarily going to have. You can't go talk to Hasbro and say, why did you make this guy's pants purple? I don't care. Why are you asking me? Just go buy it. We get to have a more fun conversation with that. I'm especially excited for that 200K unlock with the Void, because he has kind of a multi-material medium of achieving what he is as a figure, because he not only will have the UV reactive paint that the Coral Wraith does, but he'll have transparent features in his coat, so that he's detailed there, that you can see the coat is clearly hottest at the bottom and gets more ashen at the top, just like he does. And so you'll be able to see through that. Probably the rib cage would be the same way, the shoulder pads, anything metal is the hottest on his body. So we wanted that transparent, just establish it. In my opinion, like I almost backed the Bayothere campaign just because there was a black skeleton. There's nothing cooler than that. This guy took that idea and just went tenfold with it. He initially had the pattern that's featured all over him. It was uniform. Like his whole facade was all that cracked lava. And it wasn't as interesting as going in and detailing out some of those specific features, especially delineating that the skeletal features within the character were its own. It wasn't all one color. And that just brought it so much to the forefront of the communication and character we had from the beginning, because he is supposed to be kind of your boss battle final version of Deathmoid. He's possessed by the pirate god of death. He just so happens to look like he's stepped out of a volcano as well.
Right.
Well, if anybody asks me, I'm gonna lie and say I've been a fan since day one. So
hey, day one or day 25, it is just as important. And I have people talk to me all the time about, what the ideal scenario is for a campaign, when the best time to pledge is. And there's lots of folks that aim back at the end.
Right.
And it is honestly 100 times more helpful the minute you have the means, beginning of campaign, mid campaign, when you can pledge, that is the best time to pledge.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you think has been the hardest as far as advertising for you? Like, what has been like, has it been reaching a crowd? Has it been just coming up with the idea of what to do for advertising and marketing and things like that? What would you say has been the hardest part?
I mean, presenting the same information consistently while keeping it original each time is, that's just the job of marketing. It doesn't matter what you're marketing. That's part of the conversation. So there's a different level of creativity that you're bringing to that part of the job that, doesn't help you so much when you're making toys. All that artistry that goes into making the sculpt what it is. You have to get equally creative with, giving people a compelling reason to pay attention the second time, the third time. And so making sure that the message doesn't get oversaturated while making sure that it's compelling each time. I have the luxury of having a long background in film. And so one of the things that I like putting together is reels for the Instagram page, because I can make things a very quick bite-sized cinematic experience of sculpts that are already fairly cinematic by nature. So it's a constantly evolving beast. You have to keep your finger on the pulse all the time of where people are at, what they're most excited about at the time. And that's hard on social media, because a lot of the times the loudest voices are the negative ones.
Yeah.
We actually don't really see a lot of that. If I'm dealing with something that could even be perceived as negativity, generally it's someone that's just looking for clarification on an expression of an idea. So we don't really, it would actually be more helpful if we were getting more that, you get 300 likes on a post, that's fantastic. But it would also be helpful to hear, hey, here's something I'd like to see more of. They're clearly happy with what they are seeing. So you
300, you want 300 comments too. Yes.
Feedback is invaluable. And most folks don't necessarily have the time to go write you out a Yelp review on Instagram anyway. So anybody that does take the time to say something, it means a lot. And it's the hardest part of the job. I would say that toy making is 20% play, 80% work, which is still better than 100% work, 0% play if you're anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, when you do make it big, just remember, I'm the one that said I need a schooner, a pirate schooner. So just
throwing that out there.
Just throwing that out there.
Before the glory days, let's just take note. Dash wants a schooner. Well, for heaven's sake, like a rowboat in its own right is more ambitious than half the things we've already done, because we get the conversation about pirate ships all the time, and I just look at them and I blink slowly.
Yeah.
Like, what about a play set?
So,
if I'm whoa.
Let's get the figures out there first before we talk play sets.
Pretty much, that's the first step, and then I'm like, okay, so in the event that you have $3,000 to throw at a pirate ship, do you have a parking garage to store it?
I do. Absolutely. For you, Quaid, I do have the space to do that.
There's external business investment opportunities for people of all aspiring visions. I have no idea how you would play with a toy like that. Let alone
you are talking to someone who has this beast in his house right now.
Oh gosh, that thing is insane. I still can't believe that that's a producible. Well, I won't get too off topic, but I think there was a third-party company that did that practically life-size, so to speak, Metroplex that was he's like 6 feet tall. Yes. And every single review I watched of that toy, people were like, man, I spent my grandchildren's life savings on this, and I can't even pick it up. This was such a terrible person. I'm like, I could have told you that. You can't do anything with it. It's something that you'd want to see at a convention, on display. You can't practically use an item like that. So there's some balance. When I hear the phrase "release the Kraken," I get a little more excited than some of those other ones.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's not. I mean, there's got to be some crazy requests, right?
Oh yeah,
I definitely want to see a giant frickin' Cthulhu Kraken, some sort of thing down the way.
Well, it's cool because you can find it. It's out there when you look at the website. That's where our lore is most displayed, is at TideRealmCorsairs.com. And we have an entity within universe that is meeting that, Kraken expectation, but it's very, very unique to this world. And this is not me patting myself on the back. I think it's just genuinely a little cooler than, here's the giant octopus. That alone is cool. This thing is the Dreadtide Reef come to life. It's even more epic than just a Kraken. It would be a heck of a project to try to make into a toy, but it's one that I would relish attacking.
Right. I'm going to see if I can get this down in some sort of more digestible, but I'll just post it in here.
I have a small here. I can send it to you in the chat. Actually, takes me
cool.
2 seconds to type.
What is something that? Now I don't want, like, this is for me, because for my book, I just want something to go with my book. It's more of a statue, not a figure. But what do you tell other people that are wanting to get into making their own sculpts and things like this? What's something that you would tell them that would be the number one thing, like they must know?
Do your market research. Do not plunk down thousands and thousands of dollars on well-researched prototypes for under-researched market value. Just make sure that your creative vision isn't blinding you. This can be kind of a harsh way to talk about it, but once you get past that one, you have steps forward. You want to make sure that your artistry is not getting ahead of itself when it comes to the reality of marketing a product. When you get into toy design, that first desire is, I want to make toys. That's great. Separate that, shepherd it, baby that where it needs to be, but it's separate. What you want to be is a salesman if you want to do this. And I'm still learning and inventing what that means for me on a daily basis. And I have established, pedigree creators in the forms of the guys at Animal Wars in the Kingdom, Four Horsemen team, of course, people from Armies of Ashmore. There's so many guys that have come before me that are a testament to what makes this a viable market to begin with. But all those people did their homework as well. And that is something that's invaluable. So, there's a plethora of ways to get that information. But sometimes you are also taking a leap of faith. We did jump in a genre that was underrepresented, and that will come with its own inherent risk. But if you've done your due diligence and also have the tools to express yourself in the most eye-catching way possible, so to speak, then you have some good steps forward. There's some practical head knowledge that you're only going to get by getting in there and doing it. But there's never too much time spent planning unless you start going into a circle, and now your planning is just repeating on itself. Clearly, that's your next step to take the next plunge. But that is what I did. That is proving to pay off after all this time. That was just as much of a leap of faith as anything else, because I could have done market research until I was blue in the face. But I'm glad that I did until I was blue in the face and then breathed for a while.
Yeah, for sure. So let's just go over some of the things that we'll get here. So with the all-in package, you get everything you see here.
You get one copy of every item within the campaign.
Okay, and this is the equivalent. What actually encompasses that? So, and this is that all-in package right there is just like, what? Wow. Yes,
Full
please.
spread. Yeah, I will
Yes,
take
please.
all that and then some.
Yeah.
The goal is hopefully then some. That's why there's 3
Yeah.
packs for army building, stuff like that. And there's some implications when it comes to the all-in, which I think has been very easily accessible. Like all that information is what you're reading here right now anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But the all-in package is the same leap of faith that, you know, we took as creators. Our good buddy Terrence St. John actually holds the title of being the first backer day one. But I joke with him because the first backer was me, I'm afraid, in investing all that capital for prototypes. But that has everything to do with the fact that you know, we're taking that leap of faith in the IP, and someone investing in the all-in package is doing the same thing. That's at a stage where not everything is unlocked, but it is also the number one tool you can use as an investor to ensure that that happens. That all-in package is what pushes us fastest and heaviest towards making sure everything in that package unlocks. We also have a very firm policy within the campaign that if for whatever reason, say in the unlikely event that you're looking at, you know, day 2 and you're hovering over $2,000 below 200K, not only are there avenues post-campaign, because there is such a thing as post-campaign pledges, there's the window between delivery where capital is still being brought in through external means like backer kit, where even by the time it came to fulfillment of, you know, at least a partial of the wave, that minimum could still have been met. You know, that unlock could still happen, but it's most guaranteed to happen if it's done while the campaign is live. But regardless of that, if for some reason that did not unlock and that capital was not there, the all-in policy here protects your pledge. That was the simplest way we could put it. Coin always equals toys. Your $500 pledge will always equate to $500 worth of product. So once that backer kit survey comes in, when you're ready for fulfillment, everything that did unlock, you'll have a credit from the characters that didn't to apply to whatever else within the campaign you'd like. If you'd like more pieces from the captain's kit, if you'd like a couple other crew builders, there'll be lots of options for people. So we've made sure that backers are taken care of at every level, no matter how the campaign ends.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We are here.
You can't get away from it. You can't get away from it. We're in too deep with pirate puns,
right?
So it's best to embrace it.
Yeah, for sure. But it's stuff like that it just sort of tickles you, and you're like, okay, this is all serious business, but it's also, there's moments of, you can see levity in this type of thing. So it's like, they're serious, but they're not too serious that they can't at least poke fun or make a joke or, you know, stuff like that. So it's all good fun, right?
It's going over the inherent risks that a crowdfunding campaign comes with, but on average, your risk as a consumer is minimal here. There's no charge until the campaign finishes. You know, you have a month to get yourself ready if you're a day one backer. And all the steps are laid out here for everybody to analyze. The timeline won't ever be exact because there's always things that a creator can't plan for that they may run into during the production time, because you don't want to get things to people quickly at the compromise of your toy's not any good anymore.
Right.
You could rush the process at numerous steps and walk away with a really bad experience. So you can have awesome looking prototypes all day long. You can have awesome looking toys all day long, but if they don't feel good in hand, that was a waste of everybody's time. So we intend to spend every minute we can post campaign dialing in that quality control. My initials are coincidentally QC, so that's pretty much where my top concern is when it comes to these guys.
Yep, I hear that. So can you give any sort of hint or insight as to future wise? Like we see what you got here, but what can we look forward to on the horizon?
It's funny because one of our pirate god deities, which is not a hint towards the direct future, those characters are extremely ambitious, but he is the god of endless horizons, and that that mantra is fairly accurate to what we have in the books for what Tide Realm is. Getting our foot in the door here with the that's the nature of a Kickstarter. You are getting your foot in the door. You have the starting pieces to make a business and a intellectual property healthy and alive. After that point, you continue to grow and you continue to build. And the amount of, I mean, I think that's probably part of the reason the Horsemen took pause when we reached out to them, because we practically handed them a Bible full of, 50 plus characters that we could have led with, and we had to narrow it down based on the stages we were at. But there's so much in the background that so long as Wave 1 gets off the ground, you guys are in good hands. There's so much you would be eating well for so many years at a time. You got, well, it's easy for me as a creator to get ahead of myself because I have sketches for waves that are, I could be as old as some of my peers right now, meaning that they have 20 years of experience building something like that, and in my head I've drawn out said 20 years of experience before I've got it. So there's so many characters that in there that are even more ambitious than what you're seeing here. The Tideborn specifically, they've been so fun to conceptualize as a race, and the fact that we can see a little bit of that in our crab Tideborn builder. I'm just going to say that Charybdis's crew is, in my opinion, one of the most unique. You can see a little bit of that in our artwork from Noah at Edge Comics. He did some comic book style artwork that kind of gives people a little bit of a taste of what some of those factions and characters are supposed to be. There's so much behind the scenes that is equally as exciting as these three captains. I can't wait to touch on a lot of the characters you can see in the shadows of some of those illustrations. Everybody just gets cooler and cooler and cooler.
Dig it. Oh man. So I have to commend you here.
Wet the palate.
I have to commend you here. You not only stayed with it, but you're actually the first person that's ever reached back out to me and asked to come back on. I'm like,
really?
Okay, yeah. I talk to people all the time, but you're like the first person that's like, hey man, when can I come on? We're looking at this as sort of a lull. Can we do this? I'm like, hey, let's make it happen.
Absolutely.
It was great.
I just haven't treated. There's not any reason for that, but not every single stream I've been on is valuable in its own rights. I get to talk to you and Dash here about a project that's I'm extremely passionate about, and so I don't get tired of that for one reason. But I don't know. There are no small channels. There's no wasted time. Every single pledge, every single vote of confidence is just as valuable as the next one. I have every desire to come back and talk to the guys that have been helping celebrate the brand as is and walking us through the finish line that we're approaching right now. So it's no sacrifice to come back. I was always planning on it, because what's cool is that you guys have a channel name that I can actually remember. Everybody else is, your mom 17,852, whereas I'm on Geek-men Masters of the Thunder Nerds. That resonates. I can remember that channel title. It's pretty nice. Were you trying to show me something, Dash?
I just got my 2 that I told you about.
Oh, nice.
I just pledged. I got you. I got my 2 that I talked to you about. I will get the other one down the road. But the 2 that I definitely want are my Undead and the Squid Boy.
Well, one of the tactics that, because Kickstarter is a big numbers game for everybody. It's the ebb and flow of the campaign that actually really does directly kind of reflect a ship ride.
Yes,
but
it does.
Something that I've watched people do is go in and secure their pledge for the amount they want, and then once the thing they want unlocks, they just flip the script. Flipped the script. So even somebody like Gravemore, if you were to pledge for 2 copies of Deathmoid, you just go in, adjust that later, and you've already pledged for him. You've already got the campaign where you want it to be based on your contribution, and all you do is change the name, which is a fairly intelligent way of doing it. There's folks that are just waiting for that Coral Wraith. They've already thrown in the 65 they need for him, and they'll just grab him the minute he's there. So I applaud people for that. Using the campaign structure to everyone's advantage, because the faster those numbers move up, it doesn't hardly matter how you get there.
Yeah, I'll watch to see if we get to those, so I can get my add-on or the unlocks, because I usually just pledge a couple, then I will wait to see where we're at, and then I will probably get my third one right before it ends.
The fact that we're that close is, again, I just can't thank people enough. Every single, big or small, throw in $1 at it. That's a pledge of confidence. That's
pledge of confidence for sure.
That means a lot. Having, seeing the backer count go up as well is valuable to Kickstarter, because they can tell they're watching at it. So it's just, there are no small names. There are no small people on this crew, in my opinion. So I have every desire to come back and talk to folks that have been here from day one. That's been an honor.
That's awesome.
Like I said, I lied. I've been day one, first second that this dropped.
He's been day one emotionally for the last 60 minutes.
You know me so well already, Quinn. What do you plan? Is there offshoots? I know it's probably getting ahead of myself, but I get
that's
crazy.
what I do.
Do you see offshoots, or is there another maybe world that you could bring into Tide Realms or something of that nature?
We have sublines within sublines pre-visualized. It's just, it would be a crying shame to not go anywhere, because the amount of, maybe it's a disproportionate aspirational prowess I have here, but there's so much conceptualized that, at the end of each fundraiser, to be like, okay, you guys ready for what's next? Because got the horseman on the phone for next time. It's not going to take very much effort to go in and say, hey, here's what we got for you next time.
Nice. I dig it. And again, I appreciate you. I can't thank you enough for coming back out and hanging out with us. I know you're busy. I don't want to keep you too long, so I will respectfully just pop up your link here, and again, go check out the Kickstarter links in the chat, and best of luck. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes.
If you haven't backed, go back right now.
Right.
What's probably, if the only thing that's holding you back, it's probably the peg leg. We're all there. Takes a little longer to get from spot to spot. No, I can't thank you guys enough. The platform and the ability to continue to share, because we've wanted to get as much outreach as possible, not just the lovely Legions community, but there's communities within communities of the toy community, and this is something that I think lots and lots and lots of people would enjoy. And so every new face, here for it. That's why I'm here. So I appreciate you guys a ton. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, anytime.
Thanks for allowing me to be on the show tonight. And
I hope talking to us.
I hope to see you down the road, Quaid. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping we're going to have the chance to, maybe for 30-minute intervals or whatever, that last week, come back and jump on streams and celebrate where we're at there too, because the more views, the better.
I have a show as well that I'd love to get you on, called Creators Corner. If you have some near the end, I'll get you. And I followed you on Instagram, Facebook, and we can chat down the road if you want to get some time where we can bring Dustin back on the Creators Corner, and we have some more time to talk.
That'd be fabulous. I'd love that. Thank you guys so much for tonight. I appreciate you immensely.
Yeah. Anytime, man.
We'll see you.
Like I said, good luck. We're excited. Oh, and there's Houston Dave saying, "Hey, trophy." Arg.
What do we win?
Arg.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. Well, we'll be seeing you around, and we look forward to receiving the bounty.
Yeah, the bounty.
The booty.
Getting your hands on the booty
of our pledge.
Yeah.
The pledge.
You guys take care. Thank you so much for a great
evening. Have a good one.
Talk to you again soon.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, and so I'm excited and looking forward to all that he has to offer. And this is just one of those campaigns that I'm just so excited about. And there's been, we talked about it. Lots of different folks in the community have tried their hand at it, or it's just overwhelming amount of things going on right now. It's wild. So
it's good to see that it's good to see that he's halfway through and he's more than 80, or he's only got 25% left, something like that, 15% left,
something.
That's a fantastic, again, and it's because of you doing shows like this, where you bring action figures and things to the masses, and he gets seen. So that's it's a testament to you too, Dustin. I'm glad that you have this show where you get to showcase people like Wade. That's fantastic, man.
Yeah, it's definitely something that Zombie and I have really took care to. We don't push as much on the big dogs like Hasbro and and stuff like that. So we like to focus on the smaller toy companies, even indie brands and stuff like that. So it's just fun. It's good stuff.
And that's how, and we've talked about this on all the different shows we've done. That's how they get seen. And Quaid, and you got a great Quaid. If you're still out there listening, you got a great brand that Pirates is going to do well for you. And but yeah, I'm glad that you get to talk to. I've seen you do Super 7. I've seen you do, now you've done Quaid, and that's why I like the action figure community. It seems large, but I at times it can seem very small. And you and Eric do a great job. You and Zombie do a great job, and it's fun. And I'm glad you brought me on for tonight, because that was a fantastic show, man. It was just to be a part of a Kickstarter like that and witness it is amazing. So I appreciate you bringing me on for this.
Yeah, I figured you'd be a good person to have on. I could have had any other number of buddies, jump in, but I thought, you would have some good insights, maybe even you would get ideas from him too. Yeah. So I know you're interested in all that stuff too. So
I did.
It's like,
it's fun to learn from people like him.
Or,
when we're talking to Lori about doing comics, or when Ed, or all of those, when we're talking to them, it's fun to get people like that, where they're not afraid to tell us what they're doing.
Yeah.
And how to do it. And I like that, he's like, market research, I could have, he could have easily have been, it's hard, don't do it. I'm glad that he, it's, because we've done that. We've been there with people too, that'll try to shut the door on you. And
instead he's lifting you up,
lifted, and not just for me,
or at least giving a helping hand,
and not just from just anybody that was watching that wants to. I know lots of people that want to get into, whether it's action figures or people come to me about writing and what what do you do, how do you, and the easiest thing to do is sit down and talk for 5 to 10 minutes instead of saying there's the door. And so that's what you guys, you and Zombie really do bring a lot to at least to me, because I watch every week, or try to watch almost every week. I will miss a few every once in a while because of the kiddos, but overall I do watch. And you bring a great show to the madness, and you bring a great show just for action figures. So kudos to you, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, and we have a number of other things we do on the madness, and that is ADHD Theater, which we will be watching Hail Mary and Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. And so we'll be talking about those movies on Friday.
Yeah.
And we'll put them up against our officially unofficial Baja Blast rating scale. And that is a patented, patented but unofficial still.
It works. It works. It works.
So, you know,
just run with it. Just run with it. We're good.
Yeah,
We're good.
Right. You know, just it's all good. So yeah, just you know, good summer lineup. Oh yes, it is. It is. So far, I thought it was a fun show so far. We'll see. I haven't watched the second movie. Good luck. Have fun. Don't die. That'll be tomorrow. We'll be having a watch along on Thursday at 7.
That's my
I believe. So yeah. But yeah, so that's all we have for you this episode. And again, thanks to Dash for filling in and hanging out. And I will play a quick ad here, and then we'll be out of your hair. So, well, if I can find it. Yeah. So here we go. And Thunder Nerds Ho. See you next time.
Hey heroes, cosplayers, and pop culture fans, are you ready to assemble for the ultimate geek weekend? The Hall of Heroes Comic-Con is invading Elkhart, Indiana with 2 explosive days of comics, stars, and non-stop fun. Join us Saturday, May 30th and Sunday, May 31st, 2026 at the Northern Indiana Event Center in Elkhart. Doors open at 10 a.m. both days. VIP early entry at 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. We're rolling out a massive lineup of legends. Meet Eric Estrada from Chips and Fallout, Dirk Benedict from the A-Team and Battlestar Galactica, Tara Reid from American Pie and Sharknado, Catherine Cavadini, voice of Blossom from the Powerpuff Girls, Kel Mitchell from All That, Kieran and Kel and Mystery Men, horror icon Tony Moran, the original Michael Myers in Halloween, and more. Plus, top comic artists including Arthur Sidem, Marvel Zombies and Deadpool, John Kramer from Batman and Wonder Woman, Keith Pollard, a legendary Marvel artist on Spider-Man and Thor, and more. Scott Rosama, Stuart Sager, and others. Get autographs, photo ops, and chats with the stars and creators who shaped your favorites. The floor is packed with over 150 vendors, artists, and cosplayers offering exclusive comics, collectibles, original art, and merch. Enjoy cosplay contests for kids and adults with great prizes, live Q&A panels, artist showcases, interactive zones, and family-friendly fun all weekend. And the excitement goes live. Madness Entertainment Group is broadcasting straight from the con floor all weekend on YouTube, Build, and Rumble. Catch every moment as it happens, then relive it anytime with the full shows available later on Med TV on Roku. Grab your tickets today at hohcomiccon.org. Hall of Heroes Comic-Con, May 30th and 31st, 2026. Northern Indiana Event Center, Elkhart, Indiana. We'll see you there, heroes. This ad was created by Nim on behalf of Madness Entertainment Group and Hall of Heroes Comic-Con.